it's your life, it's our life, it's our life, it's our life. Come on, it's my life, it's your life, it's our life, it's our life, it's our life. You got to make a decision.
Hey, 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 hey. 803 music. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Why are you killing each other? It doesn't make any sense. I know that these streets are crazy, but you got a life to live. If not for you, it's your family, or maybe all of your friends. Come give your life to Jesus, so turn away from all your sins. But you say you're too deep in this madness, and there's no way of escape. The dirt is too grimy upon you, so thick like the icing on cake. Or how could a God even love you? You feel like you'll never be clean, but you'll clean all that dirt above you, so the real you can finally be seen. Give your life to Jesus. Surrender all. Give your life to the Lord. Surrender all. Give your life to Jesus. Surrender all. Give your life to the Lord. Let these things fool you. You ain't gotta be on hard. There's no need for opposition. Leave another family scarred. There's so many other options to help a neighborhood that's rough. Make a peace pact to end this, and show that enough is enough. But you say you're too deep in this madness, and there's no way of escape. The dirt is too grimy upon you, so thick like the icing on cake. Or how could a God even love you? You feel like you'll never be clean, when you clean all that dirt above you, so the real you can finally be seen. Give your life to Jesus. Surrender all. When you give your life to Him, give your life to the Lord. Surrender all. It's so easy to be seen. Give your life to Jesus. That Jesus is the only way to the Lord. Surrender your all to Him. Think about what you do, what it do. Do you really know what it's worth? The time is really short. Yeah. Down here on this earth, the life that you live comes with a heavy price. But no price was heavier than Jesus gave His life. Yes, He can. So you can be free. You can be free. All of your sins, confessing out with the old. So that new life, yeah. You were designed for a purpose by God. So give Him your heart. Give your life to Jesus. Surrender, yeah. Surrender your all to Him. Give your life to the Lord. He's standing with arms open wide. Give your life to Jesus. Yeah. Saying, come unto me, all that are heavy laden. Give your life to the Lord. Yeah. Yeah. 803 music. Yeah. Oh yeah.
What's good? Holla-tics Live Interactive Podcast. Every 7:30 to 8:30, you know we gonna be holla-ticking. Who am I? I'm Rash, your host, cheap politician. Narrator, orator, and the hardest Negro under 6 feet since the West Coast gangster Eric Easy E. Right. Holla-tics, y'all check in tonight. Poli-Sci 2.0. We took it, man. We took it. Holla-tics are checking in from around the globe. I got Holla-tics say, Raz, we cannot wait to get back to the show. I can't wait either. See, I used to tell y'all all the time how Tuesday was Monday's ugly sister. And y'all saw that plain as day yesterday, man. We had technical difficulties. But guess what? They couldn't stop us. Let's go. Holla-tics are checking in from around the globe. I got Holla-tics 7 Grogan in the building. Holla-tic Mike Robinson, Holla-tic La from PLC Eats. And of course you got me, the cheap Holla-tic politician, Raz. We do this every 7:30 to 8:30. Also, we do it out on Vegas. We do it everywhere we can. And we do it for an hour. We used to do it for 30 minutes, but now we do it for a whole hour. I mean, Holla-tic, get your mind out the gutter. Holla-tics, y'all check in. What y'all want to hear in the news tonight, man? Y'all know I'm going to be talking about money, right? But I ain't taking it easy on y'all, man. This is the Holla-tic Live Interactive Podcast. Holla-tics 40, Help versus the Supreme Court tonight. So Holla-tics, y'all get ready. Loosen up. Man, I'm telling you, man, I hate technology, but I love technology at the same time. I was scared again. I was like, please, no, cameras. See how they kind of, you know, they can't handle me, man. I probably need one of them gamer computers, huh? Holla-tics, y'all weigh in tonight. It's the Holla-tic Live Interactive Podcast. I am Raz, your host, Cheap Politician. We're coming at you live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, via Parameter, Twitch. Also my personal page and the Holla-tic Castnet page. I'm sorry, not the Holla-tic page. I do have a Holla-tic page, but I blew it out. Well, Holla-tics, man, y'all check in from around the globe. This is Raz, the Holla-tic Live Interactive Podcast. Of course, we doing some housekeeping around here. Y'all might like the new setup, huh? Personally, I love it. I love it, man. Just getting it ready for some upgrades. New advertisement, you know, not only paid advertisement. Everybody want to rush the game for $1 nowadays, but I believe that we should, give people their work, you know. So I want to put together a decent podcast to where when we get to the level where we have advertisers and they not, you know, they ready to spend their buck with us because they saying, man, you know, the show look great. But Holla-tics, man, y'all check in from around the globe. Definitely got news tonight. Before that, though, you seen my buddy, Uncle Boudreaux, Reginald Boudreaux. To some, many. I made him famous with that. You know, we called him Uncle Boudreaux because he loved the kids, right? You know, Boudreaux used to love the kids. He keep candy and everybody kids and stuff. Boudreaux, like, you know, feeding their kids or whatever. So that's how he got the name Uncle Boudreaux. So I just shouted it out for so many years that is who he became. So that was his video. I surrender, man. He finally came out the closet. Them dreads look nice too. Somebody commented on his dreads the other day. It's like Boudreaux dreads, man. Like Boudreaux hair been long forever. You know, he just transitioned into dreads. But Holla-tics, man, y'all check in from around the globe. I know I scared y'all yesterday because the show was it was late and I couldn't get my issues going or whatever. And so people was like, Raz, what's going on with the show, man? It was just technology, man. You know, you love it, you hate it. It's here to stay, of course. But sometimes it's, when you don't have a grasp on it, it could get scary though. And so I had technical difficulties last night, but tonight we back, with an upgrade. So Holla-tics, y'all check in from around the globe. This is the Holla-tics Live Interactive Podcast. I am Rash, your host. This is Poli-Sci 2.0, man. We like power. We like money and power here. And so we make it every day understandable, though, both of them, the money and the power. I had a friend ask me this. And I say this before we get into the news. I had a friend ask me this. He say, Raz, if you ever had a chance to sit down with and get some serious time in with a billionaire, what would you ask for? And it took me years to come to grips of what my answer would be, but I think I finally found out. And I told my friend, I say, I would ask them for access. And what I mean by that, I would ask them to keep in touch with me. Allow me a phone call and a text message every so often. We could remain disclosed. I don't have to tell people I know you. And I won't bother you. But the reason I would give that answer is because access is more important than the tangible, And why would you say that, Raz? It's all tying into the whole Poli-Sci 2.0 thing. We get information on a ground level basis because this is you and me, right? We're not celebrities, we're not elitists. And so we get information, as people on our level get it. When your status upgrade a little more though, you get to see further. And, your bucks buy you vision almost. But it's not always just money. Sometimes it's power. So your bucks, your power, your status buys you vision, And so I wouldn't ask a billionaire for tangible. I ask him for access. I need to be able to see sometimes. Like you get a hold to a great idea and you on the trail of it. But then you come to find out that the powers that be, meaning the people with the money, the access that are in the rooms you trying to get to, they decided to, excommunicado, this business that you've been working on. The big dogs say, okay, we can't get money out of this no more. We abandon it. And you spent, years, sometimes a lifetime building certain businesses that, they dissipate. And you could have saw it coming if you had access to certain rooms. So if I had a chance to meet with the Buffetts or the Gates or, the Zuckerbergs, even some of the celebrities, the Carters and I don't know about Puffy. Puffy a party guy. I don't know. But if I had a chance to meet with some of the, some of the big people, I would say, man, give me access. I just want access. I don't, everybody gonna ask y'all for something, but I just want access. So, Holla-tics, y'all check in tonight, man. I'm finna hit y'all with some news in a few seconds here. Man, a lot going on. I'm glad we are past Tuesday. We past hump day, actually. Because, I get to meet with y'all at the end of the day. So, we even past hump day, man. So, I ain't tripping at all on any of that, man. So, but let us get to some news here. Now, if y'all keep up with stock, of course we didn't change the ball game here a little bit. We didn't kind of start going into speaking about money, and y'all gonna notice the transition I'm making and why. I promise you, if you hang with me, you're gonna understand why I'm doing some of the stuff I'm doing. It's all to build a better podcast, but you're gonna understand why I'm doing some of the stuff I'm doing. So today in Money Talk, we got Pfizer. You know, I butchered their name up Monday. Tuesday, we didn't have a cast. You know, today is Wednesday. But Pfizer is the company that is responsible for getting to the first vaccination, you know. And, of course, the announcement came out Monday that, you know, it was 90% that the taker was prevented from catching COVID-19. You know, so in the news today, it said Pfizer stands a chance of making at least $13 billion off the vaccine. And it's pretty much, you know, it's for sale. $40 for a couple and 15, I think it is, for a single shot, you know. But the stock dove today to $38. And I tell you why. Because as I was speaking with you guys a little bit yesterday, people sell the news, you know. If you're waiting for the news to respond on stock, you're waiting for the news to buy stock, you're going to always be behind the curve. I didn't want to say ahead, behind the curve, because, you know, the market talk is you sell the hype, you know. So under that, you see Pfizer CEO cashed out 60% of his stock on the same day the company unveiled the results of the COVID-19. Now, that was Monday. Now, I had my charts pulled up again, but again, my computer was tripping, so I won't get into the chart side of this. But he did exactly the concept I'm saying. When, you know, they announced the fact that these guys will be the first ones to a vaccine, when everybody crashed the stock, you know, the CEO, he cashed out 60% of his, man. He made some good money. Now, it didn't spike incredibly. You know, you talk about maybe a 10, 11, $12 spike max. But it depends on how much he had. And when he got it, the price at what he got it, because he might have got a really good deal as CEO. So Holla-tics, y'all weigh in, man. What do y'all think about that, man? Do y'all think he was wrong? If he's not on charges, I'm pretty sure he's not guilty of breaking any law. So I think it was a smart move, if you ask me. But I could tend to be a capitalist sometimes. I could tend to be greedy, even, if you want to say at times. So Holla-tics, y'all weigh in, man. What do y'all think? Holla-tics Gabe Robinson is checking in. In the news today, Pfizer. You know, they stand to make $13 billion off of the vaccine. And there's for sale, that is. But you got some other companies, I think Johnson & Johnson and a couple other ones were talking about making the vaccine available to the government, you know, non-profit wise. So I guess it's a per cost thing. Now, y'all remember this news for when we go to the floor, man, because my aim here with the show is to tie the street level conversations into policy. And you know, to give you vision. You know, again, we don't always want to be handed something. We want the ability to be able to see what's next. If you can see what's next, you don't have to be handed something. You know how to position yourself for it. And so, man, that is the Trojan horse of the show, man. A Holla-tics Live interactive podcast. If you just tuned it in, no bars and stars here. This is not a celebrity-driven podcast. It's not a celebrity-driven podcast. It's information about street-level issues and conversations that we have to address and deal with. And a lot of times as citizens, we go retroactive. We wait till something happen and then we talk about it. Did you see that? Or did you see that? But this is an opportunity, you know, to take an hour in each day and kind of put yourself ahead of the curve. Because, again, that's how I live. I learned to live like that, you know, because I don't like surprises, man. So Holla-tics, y'all check in, man. Pfizer stands to make 13 billion. I think it was 13.9, probably closer to 14, but they stand to make 13 billion off of the vaccine. Now, if you're responding to that information thinking you're going to buy you some Pfizer stock and get paid, you might be behind the curve because they spiked up to $42 on Monday, and then as you see in the news today, the CEO, he sold on the news. He sold on the hype and cashed out 60% of his. I don't think he's wrong. I think it was a heck of a move. Of course, anytime you make money like this, people criticize you. You know, I'm not mad at the rich. Again, give me access and give me fair opportunity. I'm not mad at wealthy people. Holla-tics Gabriel Robinson say, if not him, someone else is gonna benefit plentiful off the COVID-19 vaccine. I don't blame the company. That's right, Gabe. I'm like you, man. You know, stuff like this happens all the time on Wall Street, though. And which is another Trojan horse of the show, man. If you're just tuning in, it's the Holla-tics Live Interactive Podcast. This is another Trojan horse of the show. Stuff like this happens all the time on Wall Street. So, you know, you could play a lottery ticket, or you could invest in some equities and wait for that, you know, wait for that opportunity, that moment. If you invest in good companies, they all had that moment. I remember Netflix was trading like $7 a share at one point in time. I remember I used to order Netflix, the DVDs. Now look at them. I remember Tesla was trading at, what was it, like $10 a share at one time? 7 or something, 10. Look at it now. So you can buy lottery tickets, or you could put a little education behind it and invest that same type of money and, you know, control more of the outcome is what I'm saying. It's just about understanding how to connect power to the money. You know, Holla-tics Mike Robinson say, if he ain't got no charges, he good, get it. He good, get it how you live. Holla-tics Mike Robinson say, if he ain't got no charges, he good, get it how you live. I'm like you, Mike. I don't blame him. You know, I would do the same thing. It don't make you look good, but again, you know, we living in a society where, you know, we eat through content, right? We post all the time, pictures, this and that, but we eat through content, man. So, you know, he might ride the news as a bad guy for a couple days, and then, you know, he got his money. However much he made, he gonna cash out, man. Holla-tics, y'all check in from around the globe, man. This is the Holla-tics Live Interactive Podcast. I am Raz, your host. No bars and stars here, just you, me, and the choices we have to make. Tonight in the news, money news, is Pfizer. You know, they the first ones. You know, since COVID-19, there was a race for the vaccine. Companies from all over. You heard President Trump say he sat down with many. You know, even promising that if he won the election, he would have a vaccine in the street. He said that the army was ready to distribute it as soon as he gave the word. And come to find out, he was not true. I mean, he was not being untruthful. Here it is. We get word that Pfizer has completed a vaccine. And Dr. Fauci even said that it should be ready to go by the end of the year. So what's really kingdom, Raz? That is somebody coming in from Casnet, man. We just sitting here talking about Pfizer. Now, of course, the CEO sold on the news. He cashed out 60% of his stock the same day they unveiled the results for the COVID-19. I don't blame him. He made him some good money. And to my knowledge, he's not fired. So I'm like Mike. If he ain't got no charges, he good. Get it how you live. But again, man, I'm not just haphazardly talking about this stuff or putting this stuff on the floor, man. I want you to tie what I bring to the news to the floor subjects. And again, man, just giving us access into them rooms. Giving us access into them rooms is what I'm responsible for, man. So Holla-tics, y'all check in from around the globe. I finally got, my system up in here running, man. My camera's looking a little better, huh? Y'all missed me last night. I was doing some little small talk. We're doing really well. The Holla-tics podcast is doing really well as far as the audio wise. We're doing really well, man. We competing with average. We're above average when it comes to the first month. And so, man, y'all continue to share the show. Please go to YouTube, subscribe, watch the show on Twitter, share it with others if you're on other forms of social networks. If you're on LinkedIn, go by, look at the clips, man, comment on them, share them. Let's blow the show up. But we're getting ready to go to the floor in a minute. Holla-tics, y'all weigh in from around the globe. I had 1 million people calling me today. And I'm like, what? Did Jesus come back and I wasn't invited? I had no idea what was going on. So I thought for sure somebody was going they had something real juicy to put on the floor tonight, man. So we'll see. But Holla-tics, I will see you on the floor. Welcome to the Holla-tics Live Interactive Podcast floor. I'm sorry, I almost stumbled that word there. This is where we get grimy. This is where it go down here. Holla-tics, y'all know what it's time for. I need you to get your gritty, grimiest, most passionate amendments, responses ready. I need you to get your Twitter fingers, your Instagram fingers, your Snapchat fingers, your TikTok fingers, your text fingers, your WhatsApp fingers. They got all kinds of new apps. I need you to, whatever you do, what you choose to use to write your most grimiest, passionate, heartfelt message. I want you to think about the notorious route when you write your messages. That's why I gotta sit there staring at you. This should have been a theme song. If you're just tuning in, this is the Holla-tics Live Interactive Podcast. I am Rash, your host, chief politician, narrator, orator, and the hardest Negro under 6 feet since Eric Easy E. Wright. Peace to the West Coast gangster. This is the Holla-tics Live Interactive Podcast floor. This is where it go down. This is where we discuss Poli-Sci 2.0. And we let them have it. I mean to make it cool. Being smart is cool. The cool kids are smart. Holla-tics, y'all check in from around the globe. We getting ready to bust the floor subject. Tonight is Help versus the Supreme Court. I want you to keep the news in mind as we bust open the floor subject. Tonight on the floor, Holla-tics 40, Help versus the Supreme Court. On Tuesday, the Supreme Court weighed in on striking down the Affordable Health Care Act. 5 Republican states was involved, including my own. Texas was the forerunner, I believe. Now, there are 3 possible most likely rulings. The 3 rulings are the Affordable Health Care Act will be struck down as law. 2, it will be upheld. Or 3, severability. Severability. It's a legal concept on where parts of it is taken, marked as invalid, and parts are valid. So Holla-tics, I need y'all to prepare your responses for the night. What do you think the Supreme Court would do? Now, the judgment is set to take place in June. However, on Tuesday, a lot of the judges were having some unofficial weigh-ins, and they said stuff, that kind of led us to believe on how they would come down, which side they would come down on this. So Holla-tics, I'm asking you, which side should they come down on? Now, please do not create your amendments too quick, because remember, this reaches the Supreme Court. So it's not as easy as you may think it is. The decision on this is not as easy as some might believe it to be. So let us digress before you prepare your amendments. If you're just tuning in, it's the Holla-tics Live Interactive Podcast. I am Rash, your host, narrator, orator. I'm also a Holla-tic, so I have to weigh in on our floor subjects. Tonight on the floor is Help versus the Supreme Court. On Tuesday, the Supreme Court weighed in on striking down the Affordable Health Care Act. 5 states, Republican states, was in on the Supreme Court's appearance. My state was one of them, Texas. Now, according to these states, they're saying that the $0 mandate that was implemented into the Affordable Health Care Act, provides no tax penalty for those who do not take insurance. So if there's no taxes involved, why should it be a law? So we can't easily just judge this one, because it got all the way to the Supreme Court. And I know as people, as humane people, society, especially in the midst of a pandemic, no one is going to say, strike down the Affordable Health Care Act and leave people without insurance. However, we live in a society of laws. And so the argument is presented. If the $0 mandate is not allowing us to collect taxes off the law, then why should we even obey the law? That is what the Republican states are bringing to the table. So Holla-tics, I want y'all to weigh in. Now, again, as I will say so many times, you have to keep the news subject in the back of your mind as we address this one right here. See, we just ain't doing this fun, man. We're not just doing this for fun. This is actually a connection into policy in real life. Again, the judgment don't take place until June. So, but then you have a Republican-packed Supreme Court who people, soap opera wise, right? People felt like that would be an issue, and that, they would simply just, take the side of Trump since he nominated him. But that's not the case. One of the judges actually, weighed, he voted to upheld it. He upheld the Affordable Health Care Act in 12. So tonight on the floor, Tuesday, the Supreme Court weighed in on striking down the Affordable Health Care Act. Now, let me get personal with this one for a minute, because it's hard to pay attention to this type of stuff, if it don't hit home. And this is probably why a lot of people stay away, from poli-sci, because they don't feel it hit home. Now, when the Democrats won, the champion of the policy, Obama, was able to get it through because he controlled, the Senate. And he was able to get the Affordable Health Care Act through. But it didn't affect me. It didn't touch my house because me and my wife, we have good insurance. We had good insurance. We both had. I don't know. I think my job was bad. My wife's job probably was good, but we had insurance, so it didn't really affect us. So it's hard for me to, passionately, like I'm asking you, weigh in on issue or topic like this one, because it didn't just hit home. But so the closest thing I could think about, is relationships, right? Policies or is a relationships. Man, we talked about contingencies the other day. Do you upheld, you strike down, or you keep parts and throw other parts away? It's so easy. It's so many reasons why you're fine to strike something down. If you say strike down versus upheld, I think you'll probably find way more reasons to strike something down, especially when it comes to issues such as, healthcare or relationships, right? Well, let me just be personal. Let's say me and my wife, right? We've been married forever, right? A lot of the relationships that started around our time, they don't exist no more. You heard me say that a lot of times. And, it's unfortunate, but I've seen a whole lot. I've seen people do good and get bad done to them. I've seen people get bad and do bad and get good done to them. And so it's really hard to call that type of stuff, He don't work. Girl, leave him. Strike him down, He cheated on me, Strike him. Girl, you don't need no man to do that. He cheated on me and he don't work. Girl, strike him down, right? That's mostly the conversation, right? Ladies is always good. They don't really, fellas is more like, she don't cook. Bro, I couldn't live like that. Strike it down, Or she don't have sex. Strike it down. Or she don't cook or have sex. But the yard man is always around the house. And he happy and smiling. Fat. Strike it down, I'm kidding. I'm making light of severe situations as far as with relationships. But when you deal with like healthcare or, some of the stuff that's closest to you, a fear for your security comes in, and then you fight for survival in a lot of these issues. So you always find reasons to strike it down. But what I have found out is reasons to upheld, they may not be as many as the ones to strike down, but they're more quality reasons, right? To hold on to something, man, you look for the quality of it versus the multitude. It's always plenty of reasons why, break up something, destroy something, get rid of it, get a new one. But, people hold on to stuff for more sentimental reasons. And then you got, the severability, parts you keep and then parts you throw away. So, Holla-tics, I ask you to weigh in tonight. The Supreme Court has a decision to make. Again, I'm going to tie this back to the news earlier, man. So, again, this subject didn't hit me because, I had pretty good insurance, I actually still do. However, I'm not insensitive, and again, Texas, my state, is in charge, is leading the charge on this whole situation. And, think about it. Do they have a point? Why should we obey a law? If the law don't have a tax dollar attached to it, then why should it even be? It's moot is what they call it in the political science. It's no good. You don't need to obey the law. And so, as easy as it may sound, it has appeared before the Supreme Court. So, Holla-tics, y'all weigh in tonight. Holla-tics 7 Grogan say, it isn't showing my name on Facebook user. What's kingdom, Raz? This is Obamacare, so I believe they will fight to uphold it. They will be a battle to the death, but the Republicans are licking their wounds from the Trump laws. What's best for the country and what's best for those without health care is going to be clouded by the battle between elephants and donkeys. Imagine if every politician who came to be a Christian was Christ-like. Pro-life would include all parts of life, including homelessness, poverty, and especially healthcare. That is 7 Grogan weighing in from the Casnet page. Again, this is Holla-tics 7 Grogan. He say, this is the Obamacare, so I believe they will fight to uphold it. It will be a battle to the death, but the Republicans are licking their wounds from the Trump laws. What's best for the country and what's best for those without health care is going to be clouded by the battle between elephants and donkeys. Imagine if every politician who claimed to be a Christian was Christ-like. Pro-life would include all parts, including homelessness, poverty, and especially healthcare. That is Holla-tics 7 Grogan weighing in on tonight's flow subject. On Tuesday, the Supreme Court weighed in on the striking down of the Affordable Health Care Act. Appeared before them was 5 Republican states. I think Texas was in the head of all 5 states, and they were saying, because of the $0 mandate, there's no, no tax money coming from the policy. So why should we even obey it? And so the Supreme Court has a decision. They could say, you're right. We're striking down the Obamacare or Affordable Health Care Act. They can say, nah, you're not right. We're going to uphill it. And then the states don't have to follow the policy because there's no benefit from it. We have a moot policy is what we call in political science, meaning it's something that's just there. It has no effect. Or severability. They keep parts and then the parts they invalidate. Now, here's the catch. If you think invalidation or severability, that means this case will continue to stay open. Because if you say, all right, we're going to invalidate this part, but this part is valid, you're going to find people from all over the nations trying to fit in that crack. They say, okay, since the Supreme Court ruled that this is not valid, then I could bring a case before, my district court circuit doing this because somebody did this and that. So it's really like kicking the can. If severability is the option they take, they're going to have to decide what's valid and what's not. And then that's kicking the can. But that may not be a bad thing, right? Holla-tics, y'all weigh in tonight on the floor. Help versus the Supreme Court. On Tuesday, the Supreme Court weighed in on striking down the Affordable Health Care Act. 5 Republican states was involved in the citing, or the hearing rather. And, Texas being one of the 5. And there's 3 possible rulings. The Affordable Health Care Act will be struck down because they say the $0 mandate means there's no tax money, means what's the use of the law? It will be upheld. Say, nah, we're going to keep the law in place. It's just going to be a worthless law. Or 3, is parts of it they will validate and parts they will not validate. And again, if they choose severability, then they kick in the can, because the minute, the judgment come off about the parts that's not validated, you're going to find people running to squeeze their case inside those little cracks and crevices, man. So, the courts should be busy. More tax dollars, more judges, more elections, right? Holla-tics, y'all weigh in tonight. I am getting ready to weigh in. on the floor subject. I'm so glad about my new setup here, man. And so glad I got these. I was able to get these technical difficulties out the way. I hate when I make pauses like that. That's horrible for the, the audio. Holla-tics Gabriel Robinson say, I believe the Supreme Court will uphold Affordable Health Care Act because if they cancel it, they better have another health care plan ready to go because it's 20 million people that depends on the Affordable Health Care Act. They will probably cut and add to the Affordable Health Care Act. If they cancel the Affordable Health Care Act, a lot of people will not be able to get a hold of COVID-19 vaccines. Now you go, Gabe. Now you're thinking now. This is why I was saying, y'all, peep the news versus what we talking about right now. COVID-19 vaccines, which a lot of people will try and get because of the incline of the virus. Now you're thinking, this is why I had the news and then I hit y'all with this floor subject. Holla-tics Mike Robinson say, I think Supreme Court Act will be upheld, the Affordable Health Care Act, because the Supreme Court will uphold the Affordable Health Care Act because a lot of Americans have coverage right now, and if they strike it down, so many will lose coverage, and this will be crucial during this pandemic. This is true. That is Michael Robinson weighing in. It is 10 to the end of the hour. If you just tuning in, it's the Holla-tics Live Interactive Podcast. I am Raz, your host, chief politician, narrator, but I'm also a Holla-tic, so I have to weigh in on my own floor subjects. Tonight on the floor, on Tuesday, the Supreme Court weighed in on the striking down of the Affordable Health Care Act. 5 Republican states, mine included, were involved in the Supreme Court hearing case, if you want to say. And so there's 3 possible outcomes. The Affordable Health Care Act will be struck down. 2, it will be upheld. Or 3, severability. Parts they will leave valid and parts they will not leave valid. Again, going back to my story, man, I never really had an issue with health insurance. I've never, I ain't gonna say I always had good in health insurance. And have I stiff-armed the government for a couple medical bills? Of course I have. I'm a black man in America. I was a poor kid. Y'all know that, right? You listened to the stories, read the, you heard the albums, right? However, since my latter days, over a long stretch now, I never really had a healthcare issue. But I know when you talk about healthcare and family and loved ones, man, this is the stuff that is closest to your heart. So it has to be taken seriously. So, do I believe they will strike down the Affordable Health Care Act? No, of course. Just like the Robinson brothers weighed in, as well as Seven Grogan, the time is not right for that. They will be a heartless Supreme Court, despite them being, appointed by Republicans. I think 2 or 3 even by Donald Trump. I think this is a really weird time to have this case to come before them. I'm not sure if it's an allegiance call in the background. Is it a fist for quid pro quo, or is Trump getting ready to have to get out of there and getting ready to get hit with suits? So maybe he's fishing for allegiance. I don't know, man. I don't want to create nothing like that, It's just a real weird time for this to have to come before Supreme Court. I know it probably was on the docket, even before the COVID-19, or it happened during that time. And so I'm not sure if they could predict it happening right at the time of a vaccine. But here we are, right? So, of course, I do not believe they will strike the Affordable Health Care Act down. However, we are stuck with the dilemma. If they upheld it, you have a moot law that, it's a $0 mandate on it. And so there is no it doesn't produce tax money, and so it's useless. It's a useless law, right? This is what the Republicans are arguing. Now, I believe, which two of the judges have already signaled, that there will be severability. But here's the trick about severability. Whatever parts they choose to cause invalid, you're going to watch people run and squeeze their cases inside the parts that the Supreme Court strikes down. So I believe that is the only answer. Severability. I think, let me say this, and I take this back, and it's my professional way in. I think severability would be the cream of the crop, right? I think at minimum they uphold the law. I think, what would I do if I sat on the Supreme Court? Of course, I am not a Supreme Court candidate. I got to get some law under me first, but I would probably upheld it. And the reason I say that is not that I'm thinking so much about the healthcare and, the well-being of others, that I'm not thinking about those who are being negatively affected. I even heard people say that, drug prices, ain't the greatest. So, I've heard both sides. We could be, it could tend to be inhumane to talk about money and supplies when people's lives on the line, but that, that is important, I heard a economist say this, you can ask, if you got a man down the street and he's thirsty, he can't get water. We can step into the market and say, hey, this guy down needs water. Can we get someone to help him? And yeah, you get some civilians, but if you say, hey, I'll pay you $20 to take this guy some water, you'll get a line of people. So economy is almost the best way sometimes of meeting a need. And so why do you say that, Raz? I would upheld Affordable Health Care Act. And my reasoning behind it will be kicking the ball over to the coming administration, which is the Biden administration, and Congress, saying y'all have to sort that out. I probably would invalidate the $0 mandate, which would force, the president to have to work with Congress and come up with something that the nation can live with. And there you go. There go that quid pro quo I was talking about. Of course, if I was sitting in a judge's seat, it wouldn't be politically influenced, but I would kick the can. I would uphold the law and kick the can right back to Congress and the president administration. I would invoke severability, invalidating the $0 mandate, come up with something. I don't know what's fair. I could sit here and probably think of it if they paid me, but they don't. I do the Holla-tics Live Interactive Podcast. So again, my way in would be to upheld it, not so much because of, a lot of the people that's hurting and needed. I'm not insensitive to that, but it would be an awesome way to get Congress and the current administration back at the table. Excellent bargaining chip for Joe, but I doubt if he take that. I think they're going to try to power down, the Senate with the race in Georgia. Anyway, Holla-tics, y'all weigh in tonight on the floor. Tuesday, the Supreme Court weighed in on striking down on the Affordable Health Care Act. It was not an official weigh-in, but they already led to believe that, they will uphold it. In fact, I think a couple of them kicked around the concept of severability. That is where I get that from. And so that is what it is. Spencer Lightly, Holla-tics Spencer Lightly is checking in. I forgot I heard it, but it was said that once America get it right, no politician is willing to invoke it, even those that say they will. If it was taken away, even though that did push take away, would institute something else in place. If it was taken away, even though that did push take it away, they did push taking it away, would institute something else in its place. I think so. I think, again, I'm not a student, and that was Holla-tics Spencer weighing in. I'm not a student of the Affordable Health Care Act, but I did, I did read up on some of it. And I know some people personally who were affected by it. And they say drug prices. And, I can't be insensitive to business. Trump claimed he had a plan that he was not going to leave America stuck out. I believe that. Was his plan conducive to what they have now? I have no idea. I think the Supreme Court should uphold the law, kick it back to Congress and the administration. I think Republicans should use that leverage, man. They should use the leverage. I think Supreme Court should strike down a $0 mandate, and the Republicans should use that leverage. Twist Joe's arm a little bit. But if he were in the Senate, it don't matter, right? This is the Holla-tics Live Interactive Podcast. I am Rash, your host, Chief Holla-tician. Your host, Chief Holla-tician. Got horse right there. Listen up. I need you to go to YouTube, subscribe. I need you to share the show. We do this every 7:30 to 8:30. The Holla-tics Live Interactive Podcast. Tonight on the floor, help versus the Supreme Court. On Tuesday, the Supreme Court weighed in on the striking down. They won't rule till June. Now again, we talked about COVID-19 vaccine. So this is going to be an important law to happen because we know the vaccines are going to hit the streets. And so, will they be free or will they cost? Listen, Holla-tics, I'm on the way out, man. If you have it in your power and the opportunity to change somebody's life, man, you better take it. That's why God put you in that position. And like my man Pickle Juice would say, quoted by the late Reverend Ike, walk with the King and be a blessing in all things. I'm Raz. I'll see